To wrap it up with our Inside the Republican Cult segment, Senator John McCain has today doubled down on his weekend claim that the so-called Wallow Fire, which has already consumed 519,000 acres along the Arizona-New Mexico border, was started by illegal immigrants. He says, quote, "I was briefed by the Forest Service about the fact that illegal immigrants sometimes start these fires." Then he claimed he never said he meant that particular fire. Then he cited an LA Times story supposedly supporting his claim. The LA Times version of that pretty much sums the whole thing up. McCain, quote, also cited a Los Angeles Times report backing his claim, although it was unclear which story he was referring to. And he, of all the Republicans who have run for president or might yet do so, may still have had the best day today. Marcos Molitzis of Daily Kos joins me in a moment. The Republican National Leadership Conference in New Orleans this weekend turned into a battle among the candidates for who could claim the mantle of being the most conservative of all the conservatives. And it was also, of course, an opportunity to take some shots at the president. The tone for the conference set by that man, Reggie Brown, an Obama impersonator who tore into the president for economic policies, Libya, bad golf game. No. He went after the same thing conservatives have latched on to since Obama declared his candidacy. His race.
We're more than halfway through June already. Now, my favorite month is February, Black History Month. You see, Michelle, she celebrates the full month, and, you know, I celebrate half.
For this crowd of red meat Republicans, racially charged jokes were like catnip. They responded with resounding applause, as you heard. But when the comedians started laying into the hide of the GOP candidates, the crowd's response was negative enough to get the guy forcibly escorted from the stage.
Got your front runner, Mitt Romney. Now, don't get me wrong. He might make a great president, along with his first lady, second lady, third lady. Go. God bless you. God bless the United States. God bless America. Thank you.
While the impersonator got the proverbial boot, the guy who really got the Republican crowd going was the man in the cowboy boots. Tough-talking, budget-slashing, secession-hinting, hair-dyed Texas Governor Rick Perry. He urged the goop to move even further to the right, stop playing nice with Democrats like some other candidates have been accused of doing. I'm looking at you, Mr. Romney Care.
We need to stop apologizing for celebrating life. We need to stop apologizing for wanting to protect an individual's right to build a business. We need to stop apologizing about stemming the tide of entitlement mindset that's out there. And our loudest opponents on the left are never going to like us, so let's quit trying to curry favor with them. Let's stand up. Let's speak with pride about our morals and our values and redouble our effort to elect more conservative Republicans. Let's stop this American downward spiral.
Pull your jacket down, pal. Perry has yet to formally enter the race, but among those who have, Ron Paul won the most recent straw poll. John Huntsman, the former Utah governor and ambassador to China, second. However, his campaign's off to a rocky start. Reports that Huntsman Corp, the chemical company founded by his father, sold a substance in Iran that could be used to manufacture missiles. So now not only does Mr. Huntsman have to defend himself against criticism that he's too cozy with the Obama administration, now he's got to explain why his family's company might be supplying Iran with weapons-grade material. Speaking of weapons-grade material, the Democratic Party is never without it, as long as it is talking internally. Last week's Netroots in Minneapolis, Kaylee Joy Gray, associate editor of Daily Kos, took White House Communications Director Dan Pfeiffer to the woodshed regarding the president's struggle to fulfill the promises he made in his 2008 campaign.
If it's impossible to get these things done, or almost impossible to get these things done, unless he has a supermajority in the House and the Senate, and even when he did, he said it was still next to impossible to get these things done. What difference does it make whether we re-elect him?
We passed the Recovery Act, we repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell, we passed health care, we passed the Lilly Ledbetter Act, we made it so the FDA can regulate tobacco.
Don't ask, don't tell. I mean, you're still firing people for being gay, so.
Our David Schuster reported that Mr. Pfeiffer was actually chosen by the White House to go to a Netroots because he seemed to look the most deserving of sympathy. Nevertheless, despite the human sacrifice, a whopping 80% of attendees said that regardless, next year they'll vote to re-elect the president. Pleasure to be led through the jungle of right-wing extremism by the founder and publisher of DailyKos.com, now Countdown contributor, Markos Moulitsas. It's good to talk to you. Thanks for your time tonight, my friend.
Oh, it feels, it's been a while, but it feels like it was just yesterday. I was just in front of a camera talking to you, so I'm so thrilled to have you back. I don't know if having the gig about walking through that right-wing nut job minefield is really a gift or something positive, but I'll embrace it.
Yeah, it's a punishment.
Let's do it.
It's a punishment. did start with something of substance. Did John Huntsman just blow away?
John Huntsman, I don't know if he was ever going to be serious. I think he was trying to vie for the media darling role because the right-wing grassroots, they were never going to embrace him. I mean, this guy was in the Obama administration. He believes in global warming. So he really had a tough slog to begin with. Of course, what this shows is that Republicans don't really believe all that rhetoric about being tough on terrorism and whatnot. If they can make a buck off that stuff, they'll make a buck in a heartbeat. But of course, this gives ammunition to his opponents. Not sure they need that much ammunition, but it does make his tough slog pretty much an impossible one.
Are all the candidates of the moment doomed anyway? Is this going to be about Jeb Bush riding out on his Paul Revere horse at the last minute?
To me, I don't see Jeb coming out this year. I think all the most serious Republican candidates, and I use serious in quotes, but the most serious to them Republican candidates, I think they're going to buy for 2016 and an open field because it's going to be tough to unseat Barack Obama. It's always tough to defeat an incumbent, and they may look at the economy. They may do their best to tank the economy. They may try to prevent the debt ceiling to be raised to try to tank the economy. They'll do whatever they can, but ultimately, I think Obama's in a much better position now than the Democrats will be in 2016. So I think all the most serious, tough candidates, they'll buy their time and wait 4 years.
So let's go a little longer. We're going to continue past the top of the hour nearly every night. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell everybody. I've got to ask you this. I haven't been on television since January of this year, but you haven't been on cable television since May 12th, 2010. Why for?
Well, it seems that your old boss had a little problem with me. I was under the impression that you were in charge of your own guests, that you can decide who could speak on your show, and those of Ed Schultz and Rachel Maddow and the rest of the lineup on MSNBC. Turns out that Joe Scarborough has veto power over who can speak in everybody else's shows. I got in a little Twitter war with him. I mean, this is a Twitter war with Joe Scarborough. Apparently, I made him cry. He went crying to Phil Griffin, your old boss, and he decided that I would not be allowed back on MSNBC until I apologized to Joe Scarborough. I offered to buy him a fainting couch for Christmas, some hankies to wipe away the tears, but apparently none of those were good enough. They needed an apology. So I found it very kind of bizarre that the lowest rated morning show host in all of cable news was dictating the guest list at the only show on cable news that cracked Fox News stranglehold on the top 10. I mean, yours was the most successful show, not just on MSNBC, but one of the most successful shows on cable, yet Joe Scarborough, essentially a loser host, was dictating who you could talk to.
Well, regardless of what all that might have been or not been, did you try to do anything to mend those bridges?
We tried I tried to talk to Phil Griffin, and the fact is he wanted this apology, and that was what it was going to take, and I just didn't think that an apology, first of all, is warranted, and second of all, I would think that somebody who is a political host would have a bit of a thick skin. You know, God knows I get assaulted every day by my colleagues on the right. I don't sit there and demand apologies. I get attacked from my friends on the left. I don't demand an apology. It comes with the territory. You're going to get arrows slung at you, and you just sort of shrug them off and you carry forth because you believe in what you believe in. Joe Scarborough apparently couldn't hack it, and so went crying to his superiors to try to do something about it.
You print your best or worst hate mail, don't you? I mean, you publish it on the website.
I do. I mean, it comes with the territory. I mean, people all the time, you know, my readers say, I can't believe you read through this stuff. I read through this stuff. I mean, it happens. It comes with the territory. So I'm not afraid of it. I have a thick skin, though. I understand that I'm going to be accused of all horrible things, 99.9% of them being wrong, scandalous, potentially libelous. It comes with the territory. I slug it off, I shrug it off, and I move forward.
Well, that's kind of a sad story you told us just there, Markos.
It's not, well, it might have been a sad story. I think this is a thrilling story. I'm happy that now you're here. You've got a new show. You're on a network where you get to call the shots as far as I can tell. I'm not exactly behind the scenes, but it looks like you're on a good situation. I like your boss quite a bit. And I think I'm going to do everything I can to help you build something incredible, because they have very few voices on television of any sort. Good, strong, populist, progressive voices. And, you know, I believe you're a national treasure, and I can't wait to do everything I can to make your show a success.
Thank you, sir. Marcos Melitzis of Daily Kos, and now Countdown contributor. Great thanks. All right. That's Countdown. Up next on Vanguard, the newest nightmare of OxyContin, gateway to heroin, including pharmacy jacking, which may have been the intent of a murderous attack yesterday at a suburban New York City drugstore. I'm Keith Olbermann. Thank you for helping us preserve freedom of news. Good night and good luck.